just about out the door, but we understand that Rahm Emanuel was able to escape the chamber ahead of the crush and is wired up and can hear us. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
Rahm, I got to tell you, I gave you a field promotion earlier in our coverage. I said you were a veteran of the IDF, the Israeli army, when in fact you were a civilian volunteer. So
okay.
Perhaps they've corrected your Wikipedia page already.
Okay. All right. But
I want to read you one sentence.
You aptly said I escaped the chamber.
Yeah, there you go.
Ahead.
I want to read you one sentence from this speech. This plan will require significant resources from the federal government, and yes, probably more than we've already set aside. The American people in tax dollars have already seen the largest package of spending in American history. It's fair to ask tonight, how much more and when are we going to know about it?
Well, as he said, I mean, you saw there, already the American people have put resources there. As you know, they just recently approved the second half of the $350 billion. There's actions to be taken, and what the president said is it may require more. It doesn't necessarily. We're going to see the plan. As you know, the Secretary of Treasury is going to be talking about things that have to be done in the sense of the financial health of the financials, of the parts of the financial system, and we'll make that determination. But that is one piece, as you said, but over an entire plan, Brian, that deals with investing in alternative energy, healthcare reform, and making sure we have our kids go to college education or further education post-high school. But he tied, I think appropriately so, that the American economy, the homeowner who wants to buy a home or rehab their home or refinance their home, the small business that wants to expand, the family that wants to send their kid to college, is tied intimately to the health and well-being of the financial system. And I think what he effectively did was said that that is not the problems of the banks, that is the problem of our economy, and fixing it is something that affects all of us. And all of us will participate in making sure that that happens, and it happens responsibly.
Rahm, let's talk about the fix, what needs to happen before we can talk about future prosperity. And in this case, let's think about a fictional family of four watching in our television station in Detroit tonight. Let's say the chief breadwinner is a former auto worker. Could you blame them for having the perception that bankers in this country so far in this relief package have somehow mattered more than ordinary citizens or displaced workers?
No, well, first of all, as you heard, Brian, the president talked about the Recovery Act that was focused primarily on getting America working again. And so for that auto worker, that family of four, getting the economy moving again was exactly why we provided a tax cut, why we provided investments in alternative energy, and why we made sure that, in fact, we start rebuilding America's roads, its bridges, its broadband, and the greatest investments in science and technology, because that's going to be essential to getting the economy moving and getting that individual hired again. And as the president said, having an auto industry that was created here must be rebuilt here will make that type of investment. And he appropriately said, for some of those individuals, they thought the mess that was created was because homeowners, or some people were buying homes they couldn't afford and flipping them like pancakes, that bankers were giving loans to people called liar loans, and regulators who should have been on the beat watching what was happening were not doing their job. And he said, I appreciate the fact that the American people are angry, but we will not govern out of anger. We'll do what's responsible to do what's necessary, and that's why the first step in the president's administration was a Recovery Act that focused on that family of four and made their middle-class life the priorities of what got invested in, and made sure this country gets moving and puts the middle class first.
Let's talk, Rahm, about bipartisanship. You used to be in the business of counting noses for the Speaker on the Democratic side in the House. I think we can call tonight a warm reception for the President, his first joint session. And yet, when it came down to the stimulus package, it was basically a straight up and down party line vote with very few exceptions. How do you make it more than that? How do you really change that in significant numbers?
Brian, I think you're also slightly counting wrong. You are right in the chamber. But the fact is, as you saw this weekend on some of the shows on NBC, Republican governors acknowledged Governor Christ of Florida, Governor Schwarzenegger of California, Governor Douglas of Vermont, other governors like Governor Huntsman of Utah said that this was the right thing to do to get their economies and their states moving. So we do have bipartisan support. Yes, you are right that only a few Republicans supported that Recovery Act, But that's not true when you go outside the walls of Congress. Republicans, independents, and Democrats elected all at every level supported what we were doing, and that was what we were doing. But the president said today, 60 members of Congress participated in the fiscal summit we had about cutting the deficit. Members of both parties. In the healthcare summit next week, members of both parties will be participating. We will continue to work to reach out to find common ground, and I hope the other party here in Congress, Washington Republicans, will see that this is an opportunity to work together and put aside their political differences to work on the common good. And I think the president extended that hand, and as I thought Ms. O'Donnell said, many times they rose to applaud because what he was talking about was what's right for America, not what was right for either party.
Rahm Emanuel, Chief of Staff in the White House, thank you for making your way out of that chamber and finding our camera. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks, you, Brian.
Rahm.
See ya.